It's Tuesday again, and I would like to hang with you lads, but I'm off to listen to the new episode of the Slaven Selection Show. Play now or stay in dark forever.
Naval base in Tartus can mean a revival of the fallen martyr. This is a section of the poem Tartus by Nasi Fesharaki, a Syrian poet who wrote it on Saturday, October 15, 2016, clearly inspired by the civil war, which officially lasted from January to April of that year. And according to the BBC, Russian naval warships appear to have temporarily abandoned their main port in Syria. We don't know what is going to happen. According to some sources, the Russian Navy has withdrawn at least 2 ships, the frigate Admiral Grigorovich and the cargo ship Engineer Trubin. Other sources state that 5 Russian warships, including 3 frigates and at least 1 submarine, were formerly stationed in Tartus but have since left the port. It is unclear when and if they will return, but it is entirely feasible that they will be able to renegotiate the terms of their stay with whoever rules post-Assad Syria, which I don't know how much of that is the truth, because it seems like Syrians, they don't want to negotiate from what I hear today, but it's okay. It is, however, one of the many disasters for the Russian fleet. And this is not the first or last time. From the humiliation at Port Arthur to the sinking of Moskva, the flagship of the Russian Navy Black Sea Fleet, or Slava-class guided missile cruiser, nothing goes according to plan for Kremlin. Russia's naval losses are catastrophic, and if Israel continues to destroy whatever is left there, because remember, the Russian-Syrian signals intelligence base in Al-Hara in southwestern Syria, close to the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, and the Center S, there was a run jointly by Russian and Syrian intelligence, as well as the Russian GRU's Osnats unit, which monitors signals intelligence from Syrian rebels and the Israeli Defense Forces. But no, because on October 5th, 2014, the center was overrun by rebels affiliated with the Free Syrian Army in the Dara offensive. So yes, it's complicated, and if the Israeli strikes continues and Arab parties understand that nobody wants Putin on the Mediterranean Sea, the loss for the Big Red Machine might be tremendous. However, this is not about Muscovite imperialism or the ongoing Third World War, which no one wants to discuss, but rather about the history of the old Phoenician harbor. So, I believe I talked about this before. Maybe I did not. I'm not quite sure. But Tartus naval base is ancient. The Russian naval base in Tartus is, while I'm writing this, still a least military installation of the Russian Navy located on the northern edge of the Syrian city seaport. Until 2017, Russian officials designated the installation as a material technical support point. As of December 9, 2024, as you might know, following the demise of the Assad regime, Russia's ongoing military involvement in the facility is questionable. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union established the facility in Tartus in accordance with the Soviet-Syrian agreement signed in 1971 to support the Soviet Navy 5th Operational Squadron in the Mediterranean, which the Soviets saw as a counterbalance to the United States 6th Fleet, which was headquartered in Italy, then in Gaeta. And in the early 1970s, the Soviet Navy operated similar support bases in Egypt, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Vietnam, and elsewhere. In 1977, the Soviet Navy withdrew its Egyptian support bases in Egypt, Vietnam, and elsewhere. Again, as I said, and at Alexandria and Mersa Matruh, and relocated the ships and property to Tartus, renaming the Naval Support Unit the 229th Naval and Estuary Vessel Support Division. Again, the Syrian-Russian relationship is a long one, so let's skip the contemporary age and go back in time to explain why Moscow needs one bear's paw in the balmy seas. Well, Tartus, again, was founded as a Phoenician colony called Antaratus or Antaratus. And the Phoenicians were an ancient Semitic-speaking culture that arose in the eastern Mediterranean, particularly in modern-day Lebanon around 1500 BC. They are well known for their marine trading culture, large trade networks, and substantial contributions to writing and navigation both. At its peak, between 1200 and 800 BC, the Phoenicians dominated Mediterranean trade. They created colonies in numerous places, including Cyprus, Sicily, Sardinia, the Balearic Islands, southern Spain, and North Africa. Particularly important thing is building Carthage in approximately 800 BC. Or is it Carthaga? I don't know, I'm not pretty sure. This Antaratus hamlet was directly related with the nearby islands of Arwad or Ardus, which served as an important center for the Phoenicians, who were known for the maritime trade and cultural impact in the ancient Mediterranean. And no wonder Rome wants to destroy them. And Antaratus was founded as a colony, and the name Antaratus means the town facing Arwad in Greek. Emperor Constantine I reconstructed the city in 346 AD, and it flourished during the Roman and Byzantine periods. It was a significant commercial and cultural hub. However, during the Crusades, it was known as Tortosa, and the Crusaders conquered it in 1099 and fortified it, making it a formidable stronghold until they were evicted in 1291. Tortosa was converted into a fortress town throughout the Middle Ages, and it successfully defended itself against severe attacks in the 12th century. The Arabs drove them out in 1291, and the town's status fell, beginning with the Ottoman invasion, until its port was revitalized in the 20th century. The Cathedral of Our Lady of Tortosa, now the town museum, is an excellent example of a 13th century Crusader architecture. The Castle of the Templars, which is late 12th to early 13th century, I believe, is mostly in ruins and located in the older area of Tartus. Tartus, Syria's second port after Latakia, serves as a fishing port and agricultural hub. In 1971, the Soviet Navy created a tiny base in Tartus, which remains under Russian administration until recently. Everything begins at the Arwad Island. And no, it's not Arad in Bahrain or Romania, where I have a couple of friends, by the way. This one is spelled with an W between R and A. And the etymology of Arwad is not clearly proven, but again, there are a few plausible sources for the name. The island's Phoenician residents referred to their city as Ainuk, and the name could be derived from the Hebrew root arad, meaning to flee or to be free, or the verb rud, meaning to wander restlessly. This would give Arwad the definition of wandering or fugitive. The name could also be derived from the ancient Greek word arados, which means disturbance or palpitation. Throughout history, the island has been known by several names, including Arwad, Ardus, Ardus, Arvad, or Arpad, and Irtu, from Annals of Thutmose III. And the name Arwad first appears in recorded history in the 15th century BC, when it was conquered by Egyptian pharaoh Thutmose. Arwad today is now primarily a fishing village. According to the Syrian Central Bureau of Statistics, during the 2004 census, it had a population of 4,400, mostly Syrian Sunni Muslims. Also, Arwad has been continually inhabited from at least the 3rd millennium BC. It was referenced in the royal palace of Ibla's archives, which were then located in a loch. The Phoenicians settled the island in the early 2nd millennium BC, located about 50 kilometers north of Lebanese Tripoli. It was a barren rock covered with fortifications and housed multiple floors. It began as a trading city, as did the majority of Phoenician communities along the coast. It possessed a great navy, and its ships are recorded in ancient Egyptian and Assyrian monuments. In the Bible, Arvad is mentioned as the forefather of the Arvadites, a Canaanite tribe. The citadel of Tartus is a medieval edifice presently largely used as a residential neighborhood along the Mediterranean Sea. It was one of the most significant fortresses in the county of Tripoli, modern-day Lebanon. So I'm not talking about Libya, all right? During the First Crusade in 1099, the Crusaders attacked Tartus and quickly prevailed. However, as the Crusaders marched toward Jerusalem, they left little protection, and Banu Ammar reclaimed the stronghold. Raymond IV, Count of Toulouse, recaptured the city and castle in February 1102 following a 2-week siege. The Knight Templar were handed custody of the castle about 1165, along with a portion of the city, following an assault by Nur ad-Din as early as 1152, and the order's leader Everard the Bar rebuilt the castle with a chapel. The stronghold was part of the county of Tripoli and was besieged multiple times, including by sea in June of 1180, but was not successful. Saladin also besieged the castle from July 3rd to 1188 and destroyed the lower town, which had earlier been depopulated but was unable to gain entrance to the keep, which was defended by numerous Broderick knights and the master of the order himself. Sultan Baybars attempted unsuccessfully to seize the city twice in 1267 and 1271. The Templars eventually abandoned the stronghold on August 3rd, 1291, following the siege of Acre on May 28 the same year. While much of the ancient city has been lost or transformed over centuries, some remnants from its Phoenician past can still be found, like the cathedral, as I have said, like the cathedral of Our Lady of Tartus. It is thought to be built on the site of a previous church founded by St. Peter and dedicated to the Virgin Mary. The cathedral's link with St. Peter and the Virgin Mary made it a famous pilgrimage destination during the Crusades. The site was eventually conquered by Frankish soldiers in 1099 and ruled by the Knights Templar from 1152 until 1299. It was also reinforced against Mamluk raids at this time. Tartus will have a greater impact on Moscow than simply providing access to the coveted Mediterranean Sea. What we should expect is additional escalation on other attack vectors in the Mediterranean where they have influence, most likely Montenegro. Muscovites already attempted to launch a coup there, but were successfully intercepted. It is highly unlikely that they will try to attempt the same mischief in the Iberian Peninsula or French Côte d'Azur. That would be too much to handle. But Maghreb or the Balkans is their way to catch a precious piece of the Mediterranean. Russian imperialism will eventually crumble, and aside from Port Arthur and Tartus, there is a good probability they will eventually lose Vladivostok as well. Vladivostok's first street, Amerikanskaya, or American Street, was named after the corvette America in 1871. Funny, it was only 2 years later it was renamed Svetlanskaya Street. I can imagine the Chinese attempting to reclaim Vladivostok after the conflict with Ukraine is over. Certainly the street name will change again, and for sure, Vladivostok will be renamed to what it was before, Haishenwai, translates as Sea Cucumber Bay. This name represents a historical connection because the territory was originally part of the Qing dynasty before being transferred to Russia in the 19th century through treaties including the Treaty of Aigun from 1858 and the Treaty of Peking or Beijing in 1860. Moscow will continue to lose vital ports. During the Russo-Japanese War, a Japanese naval squadron attacked the city, and the Vladivostok cruiser group fought in the battle, blocking approaches to the besieged Port Arthur. You can learn more about it by listening to episode 10 of my show. Today, Tartus is known for its cultural events, including the Tartus Festival, which celebrates local art and music. Syria's second largest port after Latakia is also an important hub for maritime trade and fisheries. The Mediterranean Sea is hard to resist, both in terms of geopolitics and plain pleasure, and for Moscow, the warm seas might be too far away. Even Russian favorite safe haven Cyprus is no longer safe for money laundering operations, as we learned from recent news. At one point, Russian-owned enterprises controlled up to 80% of Cyprus's wealth, earning it the nickname Moscow on the Mediterranean. I was there. Cyprus is beautiful, it's very hot and very expensive. It's true, a lot of Russians are there. And also Cyprus has lately achieved great progress in its anti-money laundering AML framework, according to a follow-up assessment from Moneyval, the Council of Europe's monitoring organization. Also, Cyprus and the United States said Monday that they are stepping up their combined effort to combat illicit financing by educating Cypriot law enforcement officers to detect, investigate, and prosecute financial crimes. We'll see how will that go. Just like Cyprus, Tartus's strategic location has made it a cultural melting point. Throughout a history, it has seen numerous powers, and each era left its stamp on the city's architectural and cultural legacy. The last one wasn't as glorious, and let's hope we don't see imperialism from the east on the vast body of water that was once the cradle of civilizations. Many tried to conquer the Mediterranean: Carthage, Persians, Byzantine, Ottomans, and of course the notoriously mysterious Sea Peoples, who were a confederation of maritime raiders and who contributed significantly to the upheaval in the Eastern Mediterranean during the Late Bronze Age, approximately to 1200 BC. Their identity and origins remain mainly unclear, as they left no written records of their own and instead relied on tales from other civilizations, particularly ancient Egypt. What the future holds is difficult to anticipate, almost as difficult as deciding on my favorite site in the Mediterranean. Whatever it is, time flies and waits for no one. Therefore, you must be selective when it comes to your favorite destination in the region. Of course, it's all about the appropriate choice, so check your map anywhere in between Portugal and Turkey, from Croatia to Tunisia, pick a favorite spot and stay selective. Bye-bye.